Listen carefully, because this is not just another message passing through your screen. This is not random. This is not coincidence. And this is not something you were meant to skip again. There are moments, rare, sacred, undeniable moments, when heaven interrupts the ordinary flow of your life. Moments when something inside you pauses, when your scrolling slows, when your spirit feels a sudden pull you cannot explain. This right here is one of those moments, because July 31st has been marked, not by man, not by calendars alone, but in the spiritual realm long before you woke up today. This date was already written with urgency. And now, somehow, against all distractions, against all noise, against everything that could have kept you where you are here. Why? Why now? Why this message? Why this exact moment? Archangel Michael is not silent tonight. And when he speaks like this, with this level of urgency, with this level of command, it means something is already in motion. Something has already begun. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Tonight. Yes, tonight. And if you're honest with yourself, you've already felt it, haven't you? That strange shift in your atmosphere. That unexplainable heaviness, or maybe even a silence that feels louder than noise. That feeling like something is about to happen, but you can't quite name it. You tried to ignore it. You told yourself it's nothing. You distracted yourself. You moved on. But it didn't go away. Because it wasn't meant to. This is what happens when heaven tries to get your attention more than once. The first time it whispers. The second time it nudges. But the third time, it interrupts. And this is the interruption. Archangel Michael stands not as a symbol, but as a messenger of divine authority. His presence does not arrive casually. His voice does not come lightly. And when he declares, "This will happen in your house tonight," it is not a suggestion. It is not a possibility. It is a warning wrapped in mercy. You must understand something deeply right now. This is not about fear. Heaven does not operate through fear. This is about awareness. This is about preparation. This is about positioning your spirit before something unfolds in your physical reality. And here is what makes this even more serious. This is not the first time you felt called to pay attention. There were other moments, weren't there? Other times when something told you, "Stop. Listen. This matters." But you brushed it off. You skipped. You delayed. You told yourself, "I'll come back later." But later never came. And now here you are again. But this time, it feels different. Heavier, stronger, more urgent. Because this time it is. There's something about tonight that cannot be repeated. A window that will not stay open forever. A moment that, once missed, shifts things in ways you may not immediately understand. That's why the message feels so intense. That's why the words feel almost pressing against your spirit. That's why something inside you is saying, "Don't skip this again." Because this is not just about what is coming. It's about how ready you are when it arrives. And Archangel Michael is watching, not to judge you, but to see if you will finally respond differently this time. If you will pause. If you will listen. If you will align. Because something is about to move within your house. Something that will not make sense at first. Something that may feel sudden. Something that may even feel shocking. But it will not be without purpose. Nothing heaven allows is ever without purpose. So right now, before anything else unfolds, before the night deepens, before the unseen becomes seen, you are being given this one moment. This one sacred pause. To become aware. To become still. To become ready. Because this message didn't just find you. You were brought to it. And what you do next will matter more than you realize. Type "I am ready" in the comments if you feel this message reaching your spirit. Blessing code 717 is now activated around your home. There is something about tonight that refuses to feel ordinary, and you know it. Even if you tried to distract yourself, even if you told your mind to calm down, even if you went about your day like nothing was unusual, something within you kept whispering, "This night is not like the others." That whisper was not imagination. That feeling was not random. That awareness rising inside you is the very reason this message has reached you now, because tonight carries a weight that cannot be ignored, a presence that cannot be dismissed, and a significance that goes far beyond what your physical eyes can see. You must understand this deeply, because what makes this night different is not what is visible around you, but what is already active within the unseen. While the world continues as usual, while people laugh, talk, and move through their routines, there is a movement taking place in the spiritual realm that is directly connected to your house. Not someone else's, not somewhere far away. Your house, the place you sleep, the place you feel safe, the place you believe is under your control. That is exactly where something is shifting tonight, and that is why the message carries such urgency. Archangel Michael does not bring attention to a moment like this without cause. When he speaks about a specific night, it means that something has already been set into motion, something that has been building quietly, patiently, beneath the surface of your awareness. You may not have seen the signs clearly, but they were there. The sudden mood changes in your environment. The tension that came without explanation. The conversations that felt slightly off. The moments where silence felt heavier than usual. These were not isolated events. These were indicators, subtle signals that something was aligning toward this very night. And now, the alignment has reached its peak. Tonight is not just another night passing through time. Tonight is a point of convergence, where what has been hidden begins to press against the surface, where what has been forming in silence begins to take shape, where what has been avoided can no longer remain unseen. This is why your spirit feels alert. This is why your attention has been drawn here. Because deep within you, there is a recognition that something is approaching a moment of release. But listen carefully, because this is where many misunderstand what is happening. The weight of tonight is not meant to create fear within you. It is meant to awaken awareness within you. There is a difference. Fear causes panic. Awareness creates preparation. And Archangel Michael is not calling you into panic. He is calling you into a state of readiness, a state where your mind is clear, your spirit is steady, and your reactions are controlled. Because what unfolds tonight will test exactly that. There is a reason the message emphasizes not skipping again. It is because this night is connected to a pattern where moments of importance were previously overlooked, where signals were ignored, where intuition was silenced in favor of comfort. But tonight breaks that pattern. Tonight demands a different response. Tonight requires you to remain present, to observe, to listen, and to resist the urge to react impulsively when something unexpected occurs. And something will occur. It may not come in the way you expect. It may not arrive with loud noise or dramatic entry. Sometimes the most significant moments come quietly, almost unnoticed at first, until suddenly they reveal their full impact. That is why you must stay aware. That is why you must not dismiss anything that feels out of place. Because tonight is not about coincidence. It is about revelation. You may begin to notice shifts within your home. Small changes that seem insignificant at first. A conversation that takes a different direction. A behavior that feels unfamiliar. moment that pauses longer than it should. These are not random. These are pieces of something unfolding, pieces that will only make sense if you remain attentive instead of reactive. This is where your role becomes crucial. Because while something is happening around you, something must also remain steady within you. Your peace must remain intact. Your clarity must remain sharp. Your emotions must remain grounded. Because the weight of tonight is not just in what happens externally, but in how you hold yourself internally while it unfolds. This is your test. This is your moment of alignment. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian in this moment, not to remove what is about to happen, but to ensure that you are not overwhelmed by it. His presence is a covering, a protection over your awareness, guiding you to see without fear, to understand without confusion, and to remain anchored even when the situation shifts unexpectedly. So as this night continues, you must carry this understanding with you. This is not just another evening. This is not just another routine. This is a marked moment, a significant point where something that has been building will begin to show itself, and your readiness will determine how you experience it. Do not rush. Do not panic. Do not ignore. Stay still. Stay aware. Stay grounded. Because the weight of tonight is real, and what makes it different is not just what will happen, but the fact that you were warned before it did. Type "I will stay aware" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 909 is now surrounding your household. There comes a moment when a warning is no longer gentle, no longer subtle, no longer something you can casually acknowledge and move past. That moment is now. Because when Archangel Michael steps forward with a message like this, it is not to entertain you, it is not to intrigue you, and it is certainly not to be ignored. It is to prepare you for something that is already approaching your reality, something that is closer than you think, something that has your house at the center of it. You must hear this clearly, because this is where everything begins to shift. The words, "This will happen in your house tonight," are not symbolic. They are not vague. They are direct. And when something is spoken with that level of precision, it means the event is not uncertain. It is not a possibility waiting to happen. It is something already set into motion, something that has crossed the threshold from unseen preparation into visible manifestation. But here is what makes this warning so powerful and so misunderstood at the same time. What is about to unfold is not meant to harm you, but it may shock you. It may disrupt your sense of normal. It may shake something within your environment that you thought was stable. And that is exactly why you were warned in advance. Because without preparation, shock creates reaction. But with preparation, shock creates awareness. And awareness is your protection. You see, many people go through moments like this without any warning at all. They face sudden changes, unexpected conversations, or revealing situations that catch them completely off guard. They react emotionally. They speak too quickly. They make decisions in the heat of confusion. And in doing so, they miss the deeper purpose behind what is happening. But you were given something different. You were given a moment before the moment, a pause before the shift, a warning before the unfolding. And that changes everything. Because now, when something begins to happen tonight, you will not be caught in confusion. You will not be overwhelmed by surprise. Instead, there will be a quiet recognition inside you that says, "This is what I was told about." And that recognition will anchor you. It will steady you. It will keep you from reacting in ways that could disrupt what is meant to be revealed. And I'll listen carefully, because the nature of what will unfold is not something you can fully predict. It may come through a conversation that suddenly takes a turn you did not expect. It may come through a behavior that reveals something hidden beneath the surface. It may come through a moment where truth begins to rise in a way that cannot be ignored anymore. And when it does, it may feel uncomfortable. It may feel unexpected. It may even feel intense. But it will not be without purpose. Archangel Michael is not warning you about chaos for the sake of chaos. He is preparing you for a moment of exposure, a moment where something that has been building quietly reaches a point where it must be seen. And sometimes, what is revealed does not come gently. Sometimes it arrives with force, not to harm, but to break through what has been concealed for too long. That is why your role tonight is not to control what happens, but to control how you respond to what happens. Because in that moment, there will be a choice between reacting emotionally or observing with clarity, a choice between speaking impulsively or remaining still and understanding what is truly unfolding, a choice between allowing the situation to pull you into confusion or allowing your awareness to rise above it. And that choice will define your experience of this night. You must remember this: not everything that feels disruptive is negative. Sometimes disruption is the beginning of alignment. Sometimes what feels uncomfortable is actually necessary to bring things into the open. And sometimes what shocks you is exactly what frees you from something you didn't even realize was affecting you. This is why you were told not to skip again. Because skipping would mean entering this moment without awareness. And without awareness, you would see only the surface of what is happening. But with awareness, you will see deeper. You will recognize patterns. You will understand meaning. You will remain grounded while everything around you begins to shift. Archangel Michael stands as a witness to this moment, not just watching what unfolds, but ensuring that you are not alone in it. His presence is not passive. It is active. It is guiding your perception, strengthening your awareness, and reminding you that whatever happens tonight, you are not without protection, and you are not without clarity. So when the moment comes, do not rush. Do not react. Do not lose your center. Pause. Observe. Understand. Because what is about to unfold in your house tonight is not random. It is not meaningless. It is not accidental. It is a moment that has been building, a moment that carries purpose, and a moment that you were chosen to witness with awareness. And now, you are ready for it. Type "I choose awareness" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1221 is now activated around your home. As this message reaches deeper into your spirit, understand this: every time a word like this touches your heart, it is not just for you alone. It is a seed meant to reach others who are still wandering in confusion, still searching for clarity, still waiting for a moment of divine awakening. When you step forward and support this mission through Super Thanks or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are sowing into a harvest of souls. The Lord declares, "Cast your bread upon the waters, and it shall return to you." And this is that moment where your obedience becomes someone else's breakthrough. I feel this strongly in the spirit. This is your moment to act, not later, not when it is convenient, but now, because obedience delayed is opportunity missed. As you release your seed, heaven marks your faith, multiplies your provision, and opens doors that no man can shut. So step into this prophetic act and give, because your giving is not ordinary. It is a divine response that will echo into eternity. There are things happening in your home that you have felt but never fully understood. Not because you are unaware, but because what you are sensing does not always reveal itself in obvious ways. It moves quietly. It settles slowly. It hides behind normal conversations, familiar routines, and everyday moments that appear harmless on the surface. Yet beneath all of that, there has been a subtle shift in the atmosphere of your home, something that has been building long before this night arrived. You may have noticed it without realizing what it truly was. The way certain moments felt heavier than they should. The way silence lingered longer than usual, almost as if something unspoken was pressing against the room. The way small interactions carried an undertone you could not quite explain. You may have brushed it off, telling yourself it was nothing, telling yourself everything was fine. But deep within you, there was always a quiet awareness that something was not fully aligned. That awareness was not wrong, because every space carries an atmosphere, and every atmosphere reflects what is happening beneath the surface. It is not always about what is said or done openly. Sometimes it is about what remains unspoken, what is held back, what is quietly forming in the background. And your home, the place that is meant to feel grounded and secure, has been carrying a layer of tension that has not yet been fully revealed. This is what Archangel Michael is drawing your attention to now. Not to alarm you, but to awaken your perception. Because what is about to unfold tonight is not something that suddenly appeared out of nowhere. It is the result of something that has already been present, something that has been developing quietly, waiting for the right moment to come to the surface. You must understand this clearly, because this changes how you see what is coming. This is not a random disruption entering your home. This is a revelation emerging from within it. Something that has been hidden is reaching a point where it can no longer remain concealed. And when that moment arrives, it may feel sudden, but in truth, it has been forming for a long time. That is why tonight carries such weight. Because the atmosphere you have been living in is about to shift in a way that makes what was invisible become visible. And when that happens, it can feel overwhelming if you are not prepared. It can feel confusing if you try to understand it only from the surface. But you were not meant to see this only from the surface. You were meant to see it with awareness. There may be dynamics within your home that you have sensed but never fully addressed. Patterns that repeated themselves in subtle ways. Energy that changed depending on certain moments or certain interaction. A sense that something was not being expressed openly, even though it was present. These are not coincidences. These are indicators of an atmosphere that has been holding more than what is visible. And now, that atmosphere is shifting. But here is where your awareness becomes your strength. Because when something hidden begins to surface, there is a tendency to react immediately, to respond emotionally, to try to control or fix what is unfolding in that moment. But that is not what you are being called to do. You are being called to observe first, to understand first, to allow what is being revealed to show itself fully before you decide how to respond. Because not everything needs an immediate reaction. Some things need to be seen clearly before they can be understood. And tonight is about clarity. There is a reason you were guided to this message before the moment arrives. It is because without this awareness, you might misinterpret what you are about to witness. You might see it as conflict when it is actually exposure. You might see it as disruption when it is actually alignment. You might see it as something negative when it is actually the beginning of something necessary. This is why you must stay grounded. Because what is hidden within the atmosphere of your home is not coming to the surface to harm you. It is coming to the surface to reveal truth. And truth, even when it feels uncomfortable, is always a step toward clarity. Archangel Michael is not removing this moment because it is meant to happen, but he is ensuring that you are not overwhelmed by it. His presence is guiding your awareness, helping you see beyond the surface, helping you remain steady while everything begins to shift. So when you feel that shift tonight, when something changes in the energy of your home, when something begins to reveal itself, remember this moment. Remember that you were told. Remember that you were prepared. Because this is not just about what you will see. It is about how clearly you will see it. And your clarity will determine everything that follows. Type ISE clearly in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1441 is now active within your home. There is a reason this message carries a tone you cannot easily shake off. A weight that lingers even after the words are heard. A sense of urgency that refuses to let you treat this like just another passing moment. That reason is not fear. It is not pressure. It is something deeper, something far more significant. It is the reality that tonight is not only about what will happen around you, but about what will be required from you. Because this is a test. Not a test of your strength. Not a test of your ability to control situations. But a test of your obedience. A test of whether you will listen when you are guided. A test of whether you will remain aligned when your instincts try to pull you in another direction. A test of whether you will stay present when everything within you may want to react, to speak, to move before understanding. You have been here before, even if it did not look exactly like this. Moments where something inside you said, "Pay attention." Moments where you felt a quiet nudge to pause, to listen, to not rush into a response. And yet, in those moments, something else took over. Distraction, emotion, habit, the desire to resolve things quickly, the need to respond immediately. And because of that, those moments passed without being fully understood. This is different. Because this time, you were warned in advance. This time, you were given clarity before the moment arrives. This time, you have the opportunity to respond differently. And that opportunity is what makes this a test. You must understand that obedience is not always loud. It is not always dramatic. Sometimes, obedience is as simple as staying silent when everything in you wants to speak. Sometimes, obedience is remaining still when everything around you is moving. Sometimes, obedience is choosing awareness over reaction, choosing patience over impulse, choosing clarity over confusion. And tonight, that is exactly what will be required of you. Because when something begins to unfold in your home, your first instinct may not align with what is needed in that moment. You may feel the urge to question immediately, to respond quickly, to correct, to confront, or to defend. Those reactions will feel natural. They will feel justified. They will feel necessary. But they may not be aligned. And this is where the test becomes real. Because obedience will ask you to pause instead of reacting. Obedience will ask you to observe instead of speaking. Obedience will ask you to trust what you were told instead of relying on what you feel in the moment. And that is not easy. It requires discipline. It requires awareness. It requires you to step outside of your usual patterns and respond in a way that is intentional rather than automatic. There is a reason the message emphasized not skipping again. Because skipping is not just about ignoring words. It is about missing alignment. It is about choosing distraction over awareness. It is about allowing important moments to pass without recognizing their significance. And tonight is not a moment that can be missed without consequence. Not consequence in the sense of punishment, but consequence in the sense of lost clarity. Because when you ignore a moment like this, you do not see what you were meant to see. You do not understand what you were meant to understand. You move through the experience without the awareness that would have changed how you responded to it. But you are not in that position anymore. Because now you know. Now you are aware. Now you are prepared. And preparation changes everything. It does not stop what is about to happen, but it changes how you move within it. It changes how you see it, It changes how you respond to it. And that is where your power lies. Because obedience is not about controlling the situation. It is about controlling your response within the situation. And tonight, your response matters more than you realize. There will be a moment where you feel the shift. A moment where something begins to unfold. A moment where your instincts rise quickly, urging you to act. And in that exact moment, you will remember this. You will remember that this is the test. You will remember that this is where you choose differently. And that choice will set the tone for everything that follows. Archangel Michael stands not just as a messenger, but as a witness to this moment. His presence is not forcing your actions, but it is guiding your awareness. It is reminding you that you are not alone in this, that you have been prepared for this, that you have everything you need to remain steady, clear, and aligned. So when the moment comes, do not rush. Do not react out of habit. Do not fall back into old patterns. Pause. Breathe. Observe. And choose your response with intention. Because this is not just about what happens in your house tonight. This is about how you show up when it does. Type "I choose obedience" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1717 is now activated over your actions and decisions. There is something deeper beneath this warning, something that goes beyond the event itself, something that reaches into a place many people rarely stop to consider. It is not just about what will happen in your house tonight. It is about what has been happening within your alignment, within your attention, within your connection to what is guiding you. Because at the center of this moment is not just urgency, it is relationship. And relationship carries weight. You must understand this carefully, because when the message says, "Do not hurt the heart of God by skipping this again," it is not spoken out of control or demand. It is spoken from a place of connection that has been trying to reach you more than once. It reflects a pattern that has been forming, a pattern where moments of importance were presented, but not fully received, not fully honored, not fully engaged with the attention they required. And that is what grieves heaven. Not imperfection, not mistakes, but disconnection. There have been moments where something tried to reach you, moments where your attention was being called for, moments where you were being guided to pause, to listen, to become aware. But those moments were brushed aside, not intentionally, not out of rejection, but out of habit, out of distraction, out of the tendency to move quickly from one thing to another without recognizing the significance of what was in front of you. And over time, that creates distance, not because the connection is gone, but because it is not being fully engaged. This is why tonight carries more weight than usual, because it is not just about one moment. It is about a shift in how you respond to moments like this moving forward. It is about breaking a pattern of overlooking what is important. It is about choosing to stay present when something meaningful is placed in front of you. Because presence is what restores alignment. And alignment is what keeps you steady when everything else begins to shift. You must hear this clearly, because this is where many people misunderstand what it means to be connected. It is not about constant awareness. It is not about never missing anything. It is about recognizing when something matters and choosing to engage with it fully in that moment. And tonight this matters. The weight you feel is not just urgency. It is significance. It is the recognition that something important is happening, something that requires your full attention, something that asks you to be present in a way you may not have been before. Because when attention is divided, clarity is lost. And when clarity is lost, moments like this become confusing instead of meaningful. This is why you were called to pause. This is why you were guided to listen. This is why you were told not to skip again. Because skipping is not just an action. It is a choice to disconnect from what is trying to reach you. It is a decision, even if unintentional, to move past something that required your awareness. But you did not skip this time. You are here. And that changes everything. Because now, instead of missing the moment, you are stepping into it with awareness. Instead of being caught off guard, you are prepared. Instead of reacting without understanding, you are being given the opportunity to respond with clarity. And that is what restores alignment. Archangel Michael is not only bringing a warning, he is bringing a moment of reconnection. A moment where you become aware not just of what is happening around you, but of how you engage with what is being placed before you. His presence is not just about protection. It is about guidance. It is about helping you recognize the importance of this moment so that you do not move through it without understanding. Because what grieves heaven is not your lack of perfection. It is the repeated loss of awareness in moments that were meant to bring clarity. But that pattern is shifting now. Because you are choosing differently. You are listening. You are staying present. You are allowing this moment to reach you instead of passing it by. And that is what matters. So as this night continues, carry this understanding with you. This is not just about the event that will unfold. It is about how you show up within it. It is about staying connected, staying aware, staying aligned with what you have been shown. Because alignment is not built in one moment. It is built through the choices you make within moments like this. And tonight your choice is already changing the outcome. Type "I stay connected" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing Code 2020 is now restoring alignment in your life. There is a truth that must be understood now, and it is not a comfortable one, but it is a necessary one. What is unfolding tonight is not random. It is not accidental. And it is not something that simply chose your house without reason. There is intention behind this moment. There is purpose behind this disruption. And there is a reason your household stands at the center of it. Because not every place carries the same weight. Not every environment holds the same level of significance. And not every household is positioned at a point where something like this would even matter. But yours is. You must begin to see this differently, because what feels like disruption is often the result of something deeper being stirred. Something that has been resting beneath the surface. Something that has been tolerated, overlooked, or simply not recognized for what it truly is. And when that kind of energy reaches a certain point, it does not remain hidden forever. It begins to move. It begins to shift. It begins to demand attention. That is what is happening now. Your household has been carrying layers of patterns, interactions, and unspoken dynamics that have not fully been brought into the light. These are not always obvious. They are not always loud. They exist in the subtle ways people communicate, in the unaddressed tensions that linger, in the repeated cycles that seem normal because they have been present for so long. And over time, these patterns create an environment that holds more than what is visible. But nothing remains concealed forever. There comes a point where what hath been held within a space begins to press outward, where what has been quiet begins to find its voice, where what has been hidden begins to reveal itself. And when that moment comes, it does not ask for permission. It does not wait for the perfect time. It happens when the weight of what has been building can no longer remain contained. That moment is tonight. You must understand this clearly, because this changes how you see what is about to happen. This is not about your household being chosen for something negative. This is about your household reaching a point where something must be addressed. Something must be seen. Something must be understood in a way it has not been before. And that is why it feels intense. Because intensity often comes when truth begins to surface. There are elements within your environment that have gone unnoticed, not because you were unaware, but because they were subtle enough to blend into what felt normal. But what feels normal is not always aligned. What feels familiar is not always clear. And sometimes, familiarity is what allows certain patterns to continue without being questioned. But tonight interrupts that. Tonight removes the comfort of overlooking. Tonight removes the ability to ignore. Tonight brings something forward that requires attention. And this is where many people misunderstand disruption. They see it as something to avoid, something to fix immediately, something to push back against. But disruption is not always the problem. Sometimes disruption is the signal. Sometimes it is the moment where everything that has been quietly misaligned begins to shift toward clarity. That is why you must not resist what is unfolding. You must not try to force things back into what they were, because what they were is what allowed this moment to build. Instead, you must allow yourself to see what is being revealed. You must allow the moment to unfold without immediately trying to control it. You must recognize that what is happening is not without reason, even if it feels unexpected. Because this is where awareness becomes your strength again. When something begins to shift in your household tonight, it will not feel random to you. There will be a recognition, a quiet understanding that this moment is connected to something deeper. And that understanding will help you remain steady while everything else begins to move. Archangel Michael stands within this moment not as the cause of disruption, but as the guide through it. His presence is not to remove what is unfolding, but to ensure that you are not lost within it. He is guiding your awareness, helping you see beyond the surface, helping you understand that what feels intense is not without purpose, because your household is not being targeted for harm. It is being positioned for clarity, and clarity often arrives through moments that cannot be ignored. So when this disruption unfolds, do not see it as something happening to you. See it as something happening for you to understand, for you to recognize, for you to finally see what had been there all along but not fully acknowledged. Because this is not just about the event itself. It is about what the event reveals. And what it reveals will change how you see everything moving forward. Type "I accept the revealing" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 2323 is now activating clarity within your household. There is always a moment when what has been hidden can no longer remain hidden, when what has been held beneath the surface begins to rise with a force that cannot be suppressed. That moment does not ask for permission. It does not arrive gently. It comes when everything that has been building reaches a point where silence is no longer sustainable. And tonight that moment is arriving in your house. You have to understand this because this is where everything begins to make sense. The tension you felt, the subtle shifts in the atmosphere, the quiet awareness that something was not fully right, all of it has been leading to this point. Not to confuse you, not to overwhelm you, but to prepare you for a moment of revelation that will change how you see what has been around you all along. Because revelation is not always comfortable. It does not always come in a way that feels easy or peaceful at first. Sometimes it arrives in a way that feels sharp, unexpected, even unsettling. Not because it is meant to harm you, but because it is meant to break through the illusion of normal, to tear down the surface layer that kept truth hidden, to bring clarity into a space where things were previously unclear. And when that happens, it can feel shocking. You may see something you did not expect to see. You may hear something you were not prepared to hear. You may realize something that changes your understanding of a situation entirely. And in that moment, everything may feel like it is shifting at once. But listen carefully, because this is the most important part. What is being exposed tonight is not new. It has always been there. It has always been present. The only difference is that now it can no longer remain concealed. That is why it feels sudden. Because what was hidden moves quietly, but when it is revealed, it moves all at once. This is why your awareness matters more than ever in this moment. Because when revelation comes, the first instinct is often reaction. The urge to respond immediately, to speak, to question, to confront, to make sense of everything in an instant. But that is not what you are being called to do. You are being called to witness, to see clearly before you speak, to understand before you act, to allow the truth to fully reveal itself before you decide what it means. Because incomplete understanding leads to incomplete responses. And tonight is not about reacting quickly. It is about seeing fully. There is something powerful about this kind of moment, even if it does not feel that way at first. Because revelation removes uncertainty. It removes guessing. It removes the need to question what you have been sensing. It brings clarity into a space that was once filled with doubt. And clarity, even when it is uncomfortable, is always a form of freedom. You must hold on to that. Because when something is exposed tonight, it may challenge what you thought you understood. It may shift your perspective. It may force you to see things in a way you did not expect. But that does not mean it is negative. It means it is real. It means it is finally visible. It means you are no longer operating in partial awareness. Archangel Michael stands present in this exact moment, not to control what is revealed, but to ensure that you are not overwhelmed by it. His presence is guiding your perception, helping you remain steady while everything unfolds, reminding you that what you are witnessing is not random, but necessary. Because truth has a way of arriving exactly when it is needed. Not too early, not too late, but at the precise moment where it can no longer be avoided. And that moment is now. So when it happens, do not turn away. Do not try to minimize it. Do not rush to change it. Stay present with it. Let it show you what it needs to show you. Let it reveal what has been waiting to be seen. Because what is exposed tonight is not just an event. It is an answer. An answer to something you have felt but could not explain. An answer to something that has been building beneath the surface. An answer that will bring clarity into your space in a way that cannot be undone. And once you see it, you will not see things the same way again. Type "I receive the truth" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 3030 is now opening your eyes to clarity. As this revelation reaches you, understand this deeply. What you are receiving is not just information. It is like being released into places that have been in darkness for too long. And every time you respond to this light, you become a vessel that helps carry it further. When you give through Super Thanks or the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a video. You are sowing into a field where lost clarity becomes found truth for countless souls. The Lord declares, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy." And right now, your seed becomes someone else's breakthrough, someone else's answered prayer. I feel this strongly. This is your moment to act with purpose, not delay, not hesitation, but immediate obedience. As you release your support, heaven records it, multiplies it, and sends provision back into your life in ways you cannot predict. Step into this now and give, because your action is not small. It is a divine response that unlocks greater impact. Now that you understand what is unfolding, now that you feel the weight of this night and the reality of what is about to be revealed, there is one thing that matters more than anything else in this moment. Not what happens around you, not what is said, not what is exposed, but how you respond when it all begins. Because this is where everything shifts. Many people believe that the power in a moment like this lies in controlling the situation, in managing what is happening externally, in trying to fix or resolve what is unfolding as quickly as possible. But that is not where your power is. Your power is in your posture. Your power is in your stillness. Your power is in your ability to remain grounded while everything else begins to move. And this is the role you are being called into tonight. You are not being placed in this moment to react impulsively. You are not being placed here to escalate what is revealed. You are not being placed here to lose control when something unexpected occurs. You are being placed here to hold clarity, to carry awareness, to remain steady when others may not be. Because not everyone will see what you see. Not everyone will understand what is happening in the way you do. And that is why your presence in this moment matters. There will be a point tonight where something unfolds, where the atmosphere shifts, where truth begins to surface in a way that cannot be ignored. And in that moment, your instinct may try to pull you in different directions. You may feel the urge to speak immediately, to question, to respond, to react in a way that feels natural. But what feels natural is not always what is needed. What is needed is intentional. You must remember what you were told. You must remember the awareness you were given. You must remember that this moment is not random, that it has purpose, that it is revealing something that was meant to be seen. And when you remember that, you will be able to pause instead of reacting. Because your pause is not weakness. Your pause is control. Your pause is clarity. Your pause is the space where understanding is formed before action is taken. And that is what will set you apart in this moment. There is something powerful about someone who can remain still when everything else is moving. Someone who does not rush into reaction, who does not allow emotion to take over, who does not let the intensity of the moment dictate their behavior. That kind of presence shifts the entire energy of a situation. And that is the role you are stepping into. You are the one who sees clearly. You are the one who understands that this is a moment of revelation, not chaos. You are the one who remains grounded when others may feel unsettled. And because of that, your response will influence everything that follows. If you react impulsively, the moment may escalate. If you speak without clarity, the meaning may be lost. If you allow emotion to take control, the purpose of what is being revealed may become distorted. But if you remain still, if you observe, if you allow the moment to fully unfold before you act, then something different happens. Clarity deepens. Understanding becomes sharper. And your response, when it comes, carries weight instead of confusion. Archangel Michael is not asking you to control the situation. He's guiding you to control yourself within the situation. His presence is reinforcing your awareness, reminding you that you are capable of holding this moment without being overwhelmed by it. Because you are not here by accident. You were placed in this moment because you are capable of navigating it differently. You are capable of seeing beyond the surface. You are capable of responding with intention instead of impulse. And tonight is where that becomes real. There will be a moment where everything you have heard comes back to you. A moment where you feel the shift, where you recognize that this is it. This is what you were prepared for. And in that exact moment, your role becomes clear. You do not rush. You do not react. You do not lose your center. You remain present. You remain aware. You remain grounded in what you know. Because this is not just about witnessing what happens. It is about embodying the response that this moment requires. And that response will define everything that comes next. Type "I remain grounded" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 4141 is now strengthening your spirit and response. There is always a moment, right in the center of unfolding events, where everything seems to pause for just a second, and in that second, a choice is presented. It is not announced. It is not explained. But it is there. And tonight, that choice will come to you more clearly than ever before. It will not come in words. It will come in feeling. It will come in the sudden rise of emotion when something unexpected happens. It will come in the tension that tries to build in your chest. It will come in the urge to react quickly, to respond immediately, to match the intensity of what is happening around you. And in that moment, you will stand at the edge of two paths: peace or panic. You must understand this deeply, because this is not just a small internal decision. This is the defining point of the entire night. What you choose in that moment will shape how everything unfolds afterward. Not just externally, but within you. Because panic is fast. Panic does not wait. Panic moves quickly, speaks quickly, reacts without understanding. It feeds on confusion. It amplifies tension. It pulls you into the surface of what is happening without allowing you to see beneath it. And once panic takes over, clarity becomes difficult to hold on to. But peace is different. Peace is not the absence of intensity. It is the presence of control within intensity. It is the ability to remain centered while everything else feels uncertain. It is the strength to pause when everything in you wants to move. It is the awareness that you do not need to match the energy of the moment in order to navigate it. And tonight, peace is your assignment. Not because everything will feel calm, but because you were prepared for this. You were given awareness before the moment arrived. You were guided to understand what is unfolding so that when it begins, you do not have to be pulled into reaction. But the choice will still be yours. Because awareness does not remove the option to panic. It simply gives you the ability to choose differently. There will be a moment where something happens, something that catches attention, something that creates a shift in the environment. And in that moment, you will feel it. That internal pull, that rising tension, that instinct to react. And that is where everything slows down, not externally, but internally. Because within you, there will be a pause, a brief space where you remember everything you have been told, a moment where you recognize that this is it. This is the moment where your response matters. And in that space, you will choose. If you choose panic, the moment may begin to control you. Your reactions may become faster than your understanding. Your words may come before your clarity. And what could have been observed clearly may become something you feel caught inside of. But if you choose peace, something different happens. You remain steady. You remain aware. You remain in control of yourself, even if the situation itself feels uncertain. And from that place you see more. You understand more. You respond with intention instead of impulse. This is why Archangel Michael prepared you in advance. Because peace is not something you create in the moment. It is something you decide to hold before the moment arrives. It is something you carry with you, so that when intensity appears, you do not have to search for stability. You already have it. And that is what sets you apart tonight. Because while others may react, while others may feel overwhelmed, while others may get pulled into the surface of what is happening, you will have something different. You will have awareness. You will have preparation. You will have the ability to remain grounded while everything else moves. And that changes everything. Because when you are not controlled by panic, you are free to see clearly. You are free to understand what is truly happening. You are free to respond in a way that aligns with the purpose of the moment instead of being lost in the intensity of it. This is the battle you will face tonight. Not a battle outside of you, but a battle within you, between the urge to react and the decision to remain at peace. And that battle will be won not by force, not by effort, but by choice. A single choice. A quiet decision. A moment where you say, without words, I will not be moved by this. I will remain steady. And when you do that, everything changes. Because peace does not just protect you, it positions you. It allows you to stand in clarity while everything else reveals itself. And that is your power in this moment. Type I choose peace in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 5050 is now anchoring peace within your spirit. There are moments in life that feel like they pass quickly, moments that come and go without leaving a lasting mark. But then there are moments like this, moments that divide what was from what will be, moments that quietly redraw the line between your past understanding and your future awareness. Tonight is one of those moments, because after tonight something changes. Not everything at once. Not in a loud or dramatic way that the world immediately recognizes, but within your space, within your perception, within the way you see what is around you, something will no longer be the same. And once that shift happens, it cannot be undone. You must understand this clearly, because the significance of tonight is not only in what is revealed, but in what that revelation does to you. It alters your awareness. It reshapes your understanding. It removes the ability to return to a place of not knowing. And that is what makes this moment permanent. There are things you have sensed before but could not confirm. Feelings you could not fully explain. Subtle tensions that you noticed but could not define. But once something is revealed, once truth becomes visible, you cannot go back to seeing things the way you did before. The uncertainty is replaced with clarity. The guessing is replaced with knowing. And knowing changes everything. Because once you know, your decisions begin to shift. Your responses begin to shift. Your boundaries begin to shift. The way you engage with your environment begins to change, not out of reaction, but out of awareness. This is why tonight matters so deeply. Because what is about to unfold is not just an event that happens and then fades away. It is a moment that creates a ripple that moves forward into everything that comes after. It influences how you see your household. It influences how you interpret what happens next. It influences how you move within your space from this point on. And that ripple is what creates the shift. But here is what you must also understand. Not everyone will experience this shift in the same way you do. Not everyone will recognize the significance of what hath been revealed. Some may move forward as if nothing has changed. Some may choose not to see it fully. Some may remain in the same patterns, the same understanding, the same level of awareness they were in before. But you will not, because you were prepared. You were told. You were given the awareness before the moment arrived. And because of that, you will see differently. You will understand differently. You will move differently. And the difference is what separates this moment from every other moment that came before it. Archangel Michael is not only guiding you through what is happening tonight. He is positioning you for what comes after. His presence is not just about helping you remain steady in the moment. It is about ensuring that once the moment passes, you carry the clarity with you instead of leaving it behind. Because many people experience moments of revelation, but they do not hold on to the understanding that comes with them. They return to old patterns. They ignore what they saw. They convince themselves that it was not as significant as it felt. And in doing so, they lose the shift that the moment was meant to create. But that is not what you are being called to do. You are being called to hold on to what is revealed, to allow it to reshape your awareness, to let it guide how you move forward. Because what changes after tonight is not just your environment, it is you. the way you perceive, the way you respond, the way you recognize what is happening around you. And that internal shift is what creates lasting change. There may be a quiet moment after everything unfolds, a moment where things settle, where the intensity fades, where the atmosphere begins to stabilize again. And in that moment, you may feel a sense of clarity that was not there before, a sense of understanding that feels deeper than what you had before tonight. That is the shift, and it will stay with you. It will guide you. It will remind you of what you saw, what you understood, what you experienced. And from that point forward, you will not move the same way you did before. Because once awareness reaches a certain level, it does not go backward. It only moves forward. So as this night continues, as everything unfolds, remember this. This is not just about what is happening now. This is about what remains after it is over. Because tonight is not just an ending. It is a turning point. And what begins after this will be shaped by what you choose to carry with you from this moment. Type "I embrace the shift" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 6161 is now sealing this transformation within you. This is where everything comes together. This is where the message is no longer just something you heard, but something you must now carry into action. Because the night is no longer approaching, it is here. The moment you were prepared for is no longer ahead of you, it is unfolding around you. And now, there is one final truth you must understand. Heaven is watching your response. Not watching to judge you. Not watching to measure you against perfection. But watching to see if you will step into alignment with what you have been shown. Watching to see if you will hold on to the awareness you were given. Watching to see if this moment becomes just another experience or a true turning point in how you live, how you respond, and how you move forward. Because this is where many people fall back. They receive the message. They feel the urgency. They recognize the moment. But when the moment passes, they return to old patterns. They forget what they felt. They ignore what they saw. They move forward as if nothing changed. And in doing so, they miss the full purpose of what they were given. But that is not what you are being called to do. You are being called to carry this forward. To let this moment stay with you even after tonight ends. To let what you experienced reshape how you see, how you respond, how you remain aware in moments that follow. Because this was never just about one night. It was about awakening something within you. An awareness that does not fade. A clarity that does not disappear. A presence that stays with you even when everything around you becomes quiet again. You must understand this deeply. Because what you do after this matters just as much as what you do during it. The way you hold on to this awareness will determine how you move forward. The way you respond to what was revealed will determine how your environment shifts from this point on. There is a responsibility that comes with seeing clearly. A responsibility to not ignore what had been shown. A responsibility to not fall back into patterns that kept things hidden. A responsibility to remain aligned with the awareness you now carry. And that responsibility is not heavy. It is empowering. Because it means you are no longer moving blindly. It means you are no longer reacting without understanding. It means you are no longer missing what is right in front of you. Archangel Michael stands at the close of this moment, not as a distant figure, but as a presence that has guided you through this entire experience. And now his message becomes simple, direct, and final. Stay aware. Stay grounded. Stay aligned. Because what you experienced was not random. What you felt was not imagined. What you saw was not meaningless. It was real. It was necessary. And it was meant to shift you. There will be a quiet moment after this, A moment where everything settles, where the intensity fades, where the night moves forward like any other night. And in that moment, you will feel something different within you. A clarity, a steadiness, a sense that something has changed, even if you cannot fully explain it yet. It is the result of alignment, and it is something you must hold on to. Because this is not the end of the message. This is the beginning of how you move differently from this point forward. So do not let this become something you forget. Do not let this become something you dismiss once the moment passes. Let it stay with you. Let it guide you. Let it remind you that awareness is not something that comes and goes, it is something you choose to carry. And tonight you chose to receive it. Type "I remain aligned" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 7777 is now sealing divine awareness over your life. As this final moment settles into your spirit, understand this truth. What was revealed to you tonight was not just for your house. It was for countless others still walking in silence, still unaware, still waiting for their moment of clarity. Every seed you sow into this mission becomes a light placed in someone else's darkness, a voice reaching someone who almost gave up, a message arriving at the exact moment they needed it. The Lord speaks, "Give, and it shall be given unto you," not as a distant promise, but as a living flow that multiplies every act of obedience you release today. I feel this strongly in this moment. This is your opportunity to act. Not later, not when it feels convenient, but now, while your spirit is stirred and your awareness is alive. As you give through the PayPal link in the description or the QR code on your screen, you are stepping into a prophetic act that opens doors, releases provision, and extends this message to souls who are waiting just like you once were. Heaven sees your response, heaven multiplies your seed, and heaven aligns your life with greater clarity and purpose. So act now and give, because this is not just support. This is your moment of divine participation.